Again, welcome to another afternoon of Travelwise Talks. This is the fourth episode of this month that we're bringing to you a variety of Filipino Americans who've been making a difference in our community every day. If you are with us for the first show, where we brought the president of the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and told us the mission of the chamber, and also gave away free membership for the rest of 2020. Or perhaps you were with us during the second week where we brought the tourism director of the Philippine Department of Tourism and we took a deeper dive into what the Philippines has been up to since the pandemic and the destinations that they're preparing for safe travels. Philippines recently was awarded with a safe travel stamp by the World Travel and Tourism Council. So be on the lookout for some great destinations coming in the next 2020, 1 year. Or maybe you were with us last week. Last week, we brought in a very respectable man named John Melagrito, who is very well known in the community for his advocacy work for veterans' rights and serving the community as the chief and editor of Manila Mail Publications. Or, just one more or, you were with me during the Consul Secretary Daryl and or of any of my past public advisories. But either way, if you are watching this, if you are watching the first Facebook Live that I put on earlier today and you are still with me through the technical difficulties, please let me know who is with me today in the chat box. Let me know your name. Let me know where you're from. Let me know which of the past episodes that you have watched, which one you really enjoyed, because today is another episode, and we'll be bringing in a good friend of mine from Philippine Airlines. Philippine Airlines is the flagship air carrier of the Philippines and has brought the Philippines even closer to all of us with its nonstop flights from the U.S. out of three major gateways here in the U.S. Not to forget about also in Canada, there are direct flights going to the Philippines. But before I move any further, I just wanted to introduce and go into the speaker. The agenda for today is we'll introduce the speaker. I'll do the interview. This is insane, with Philippine Airlines, and then we'll go into a short Q&A session at the end of our interview. But to give you a little bit of information about us, we are a travel agency, and I am Mariel Cabin, the travel agency owner and COO of Travelwise. We have been in business since 1989, serving our community for the last 30 years. We love going to destinations such as Europe, Asia, and the South Pacific, not to mention the exotics. And our favorite modes of travel will have to be hands down cruises, ocean, river cruises, and yacht cruises. But our favorite and most beloved destination is the Philippines, which brings us to our very own topic today and the whole reason why we are celebrating Filipino American History Month in the month of October. But to give you a little bit of cheers, October is Filipino American History Month, and all month in every single one of my episodes, we have been doing a Filipino American trivia question, taking this opportunity to give everyone a learning experience. And the trivia question for today is, since the first recorded presence of Filipinos in America in 1857, about how many Filipinos are in America to date? So if you have the question or you want to take a stab at how many Filipinos are in America to date, and I'm going to tell you that this is before the census was collected. Is it A, 1.9 million? Is it B, 4 million? Is it C, 5 million? Or is it is it D, 2 million? So please, if you want to take a guess or you know the answer, please leave it in the chat box below. I will be going over the answers after our Q&A session. So if you're with me until the end, I promise to give you a little bit of information about Filipino American history and to know how many Filipinos are with us to date. And again, this is before the 2020 census. So thank you again for bearing with us. And Let me introduce to you our guest speaker today. Oh, we have some people that are joining us all the way from San Diego, California. Hello, Pog Ako. And then we also have Bonnie, who's watching us all the way from Arizona. Hi, Bonnie. All right, so let's jump in and introduce our speaker for today. He is with Philippine Airlines. This is my good friend, Erwin Del Rosario. He is the district sales secretary and customer service representative of Philippine Airlines in the East Coast. After a variety of stops in various customer service, hospitality, industry, and retail settings, he joined the company a few months after Philippine Airlines returned to the skies of New York in 2015. He felt right at home with a band he believes in, and he has been regularly shuttling between Manila and San Francisco, California since his senior year in Manila Science High School. Erwin has been a familiar fixture of Philippine Airlines in the Filipino American community of the tri-state area. And that tri-state area isn't the DC, Maryland, Virginia. It is up there in New Jersey area, representing the company in events promoting the only nonstop flight between New York and Manila, while being the Operation Swiss Knife in their Times Square office. He has tried his hand in entrepreneurship, abetted by his skills he learned from his first job in an advertising agency. Erwin finished his Bachelor of Arts in Journalism from the University of Philippines. So, without further ado, I am so happy to finally get to this part that we have all been waiting for. Erwin, I am going to bring you up into the stage and welcome you to our Travelwise Talks. Hello, Erwin. How are you? Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Hi, Erwin. I believe now we're having issues with your your audio. Is it on? There we go. I
Can
think
you
we
hear me?
got some.
Can you hear
There
me?
we go.
Oopsie.
There's the guy that we've been waiting for.
Uh, Hi everyone. So okay, you can hear me. Hi Marielle, to Team Travelwise, and to all your loved ones. How's Max and Malachi?
They're doing great. They're downstairs and probably eating lunch right now.
When I expand the tri-state, being familiar in the tri-state to familiar over the East Coast, I have to get the little guy and to see you guys again. Because this year there's a chance that the once a year Christmas event that we go to might not happen. So if not, well, I just gotta expand my territory.
You're gonna come down here to Washington, the other tri-state area.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I hope you and all the listeners are doing fine during these most challenging times. Well, to all of you who have stayed, I hope you are okay too. As Marielle has introduced me, I am Erwin Del Rosario from the New York sales office. Joined Philippine Airlines a few months after Philippine Airlines flew the skies of New York again. And in behalf of our good-looking, kind, amazing area manager, Josh Vasquez, and our amazing team in the New York Sales District, including our account officers, the lovely Charisse and the animated Goldwyn, to our hardworking airport team led by our station manager, Don D. Arcangeles. All of us in Philippine Airlines New York, we thank you for having Philippine Airlines today in one of the episodes of Travelwise Talks during the Philippine American History Month episodes. So I want to say good afternoon to you and your followers here in Facebook Live, whoever's left, whoever's going to watch us later, and in YouTube. Because I'm gonna share this later. I was unable to do that earlier, but I'm definitely gonna share this. So more. Well, basically, this gets shared, and then more and more are gonna tune into you, adding to the multitude tuning in every week now. So, um, Okay, for today's this afternoon's episode, travel faster. I say faster slash safer with Philippine. I dub with a long hashtag, hashtag smart people travel wise with the heart of the Filipino. So
Absolutely. Erwin, I think you're doing really great at moderating. Maybe you should take it away and ask me questions.
maybe we can do that later. Just before the mics and speaker go crazy again. Before I forget, before we go to the gist of things, I would just like to greet our agents in the East Coast, not just the Tri-State and Tri-State, the East Coast, which is under our Newark sales office, since it's Filipino American History Month.
Hmm.
Permit me to also give a special shout out to our Filipino agents under our sales district. This day is kudos to you and all your partners for your assistance, especially these days, these most unique days, especially to our mutual travel pals.
I think I have to kick you off the stage, just like the Emmy Awards, because I think we're over time now. No, but
Let's make this part 1 of 5 then.
no, I first off, not a problem. This whole series, these whole Travelwise talks, is to celebrate everything excellent and everything to be celebrated in the Filipino American community. And if it means shouting out to all the people that are part of PAL, all the agents, all of our consumers and partners, everybody that has been making this community successful or adds to the history, definitely give them a shout out. But that leads to me to my first question, which is, what does Philippine American History Month mean to you?
Uh,
In 2 minutes or less.
2 minutes or
I'm just
less,
kidding.
no,
No,
I'll
no,
try to
just kidding.
do that. Well, basically, it means that for all of us with pride for Filipino culture, we are essentially walking advertisements of Filipino heritage. As Americans of Filipino descent, we have been proud of our heritage, even as we lived offshore, away from our inang bayan. It means it's also an opportune time to highlight the best of the Filipino culture and what elements from the motherland are most uniquely Filipino. For a quick example, would be food. A whole we've heard from mainstream American pop culture about oh come on let's go grab some Chinese, let's go to some Thai place and stuff. So we're ready for the time that our Filipino food is as mainstream as those other culinary delights. So
Yes.
in the same manner, when it comes to aviation, we have Philippine Airlines for close to 8 years now. And when you emphasize the very best of the Philippines, it's foremost the people. And what's most natural for Filipinos is our the legendary hospitality. So Philippine Airlines is proud to essentially be to the world the face of Filipino hospitality.
Yep.
Once you board the aircraft, it's like having 1 foot in the country already. So, Philippine Heritage Month, let's all be proud of anything and everything, like you said, Era, which we can put under the sariling atin column, which is naturally ours. So, and a quick tidbit, when you enter the cabin, Mariel cabin,
You got
yeah,
jokes. You got jokes,
yeah,
Erwin.
these days you will see our flight crew with designer crew uniforms. It started with the white ones with the saddle branding of PAL to the baby blue ones these days. So it is symbolic of another Filipino trait which is resiliency. And
Hmm.
company, it symbolizes how we have been adapting to the new normal since mid-March. And
Yeah.
from hospitality, resiliency, like I just mentioned, it is a trait that Filipinos has done their own way. What will keep Philippine Airlines survive this extended turbulence, because it's not just an airline company, an aviation company. It is an idea. Yes, you heard it. Philippine Airlines is an idea, a uniquely Filipino idea intertwining hospitality, resilience, and aviation. So,
There we go.
I still loom ahead. Early returns on what we have been doing, I really proved to bear fruit.
That is excellent. Now, and to all our viewers that are watching right now, if you feel like you want to say something about what Philippine American History Month means to you, please leave it in the comment box below. Who knows? I might be inviting you onto my little broadcast and interviewing you. But please, if you have anything to have to say, just want to add into what Erwin has said about what Philippine American history means to you, please add it to the comment box. I would love to hear what it means to you. For some, it's hospitality. For some, it's the resiliency. Others, it is just the pure on history and our involvement in America. But if you have anything to say, one word, one sentence, doesn't matter, please add it to the comment box. All right. So,
You can
Erwin,
do it for the whole of this month. You can put it all, during the whole of this Filipino her- uh,
agreed.
heritage.
Agreed.
Not just today, but probably next episode. But we can do it today while I'm here. Yeah, let's go.
So, Erwin, tell me, what has Philippine Airlines been up to since the crisis started back in March? Uh, I usually see you, I don't know, at least 5 times in the year, and I think I've only seen you once at the New York Times show. So, what has Philippine Airlines been up to since, I don't know, March?
Well, the pandemic may have knocked us down like the rest of the industry, but do not count us out. Since March 24, Philippine Airlines has operated flights to Vancouver, Toronto, Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, London, Auckland, Milan, and a few other Asian destinations, all
Mm-hmm.
bringing home Filipinos. And that's not new to Philippine Airlines. In terms of crisis, the flag carrier has been doing its fair share for the country.
Yep.
Like in 1991, Philippine Airlines repatriated Filipinos from the Gulf area during Operation Desert Storm. And fast forward to 2014, Philippine Airlines brought home Filipinos from Libya during the time of a civil war there.
Yeah.
This year, since the first quarter, the airline has also mounted about 222 sweeper and repatriation flights that flew home stranded passengers from various countries in Asia, Europe, Africa, Oceania, and North America. Aside from repatriation flights, we've also done some cargo, and as of July of this year, Philippine Airlines flew 640 local and international cargo flights carrying crucial medical and food supplies. Since that has been since March. Like
Mm-hmm.
recently in Beirut, we turned over some donations containing essentials from the Lushitan group of companies to the OFWs there in Libya. At the same time, fetching some 300 OFWs as part of the DFA's repatriation efforts.
Yeah.
There's also the time a recent instance wherein Philippine Airlines carried 35 tons of chartered medical cargo, including that from the World Health Organization, around maybe five dates in June, and which also brought back Indians back home from the Philippines. This is going to Mumbai. So yeah, basically it has been busy, even though um, you know
Very busy year. Very busy.
even though things may have come to a halt, but resilience.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that at the beginning because I definitely see the resiliency in Philippine Airlines just with the summer alone. Now, as far as passenger flights, has there been any schedule changes or frequency in your nonstop flights from the U.S. or here in North America to the Philippines?
Oh, it's picking up. It's picking up already. People have adjusted to the new normal. So there's been too many changes here and there in the policies and everywhere. So let me just grab my notes. Um, Yeah, basically at this point from New York to Manila, we're doing one flight, but later on, maybe around say mid-November, we're moving up to we're targeting twice a week. Yeah,
Three,
twice.
1 to 3 times a week.
Yeah, basically around November, mid-November to early March. Our Los Angeles flights are also moving up from are also going to have about three times a week to targeting 3 times a week to 5 times a week around the same period from mid-November to around March, and San Francisco from they aim to have about 5 times a week and to daily flights. And Honolulu basically will also have is targeting around 3 times a week, and then three times to 4 times a week. So basically,
Mhm.
those are the four hubs in the U.S.
And do
Uh,
you know what days of the week that Philippine Airlines is flying if for the 3 week schedule? I mean, yeah, when it goes to start going to 3 times a week, do you know what days of the week they're flying?
I I had that notes in base not so I apologize for that. I had that note in my other laptop, but I
No
changed
worries.
earlier when I tried to do it. But basically, everything will be at philippineairlines.com. So
Okay.
everybody's getting more and more comfortable these days, getting adjusted to the normal while staying safe. So it's gonna get more and more, and then we're gonna get some boost as well with the recent announcement that before it's just essential travel coming from the Philippines. I believe
Yeah.
they're also letting some tourist visas already.
And
So
this is for Filipinos in Philippines right now. They can start going outbound travel for non-essential
yes,
travel,
that's what
right?
yeah, that's one of the news items I've seen lately.
I mean, slowly but surely. But again, I believe that the governments and suppliers and travel business, everyone is just trying to open in a safe manner. Keeping everyone's safety as a top priority.
That's
Um,
basically just to make use of whatever was learned and experienced during the last few months since March to adjust to a new normal, to
mhm.
totally get back to operating in a safe manner, and go forward from there.
So I mean, so Erwin, speaking of safety protocols, what has Philippine Airlines implemented as far as safety protocols or health screenings? Like, what is required for your passengers to board your flight now? Given the crisis that's going on.
Well, essentially, there's been naturally a lot of restrictions, especially going to the Philippines.
Hmm.
You got to have your test. You got to hold up in a hotel, waiting for it to wait for a test. But essentially, these days, Philippine Airlines aims to continue the high standards of safety and protection of the health of our colleagues and all our passengers in our care. So that's why we have to comply and do all of those. This is what Philippine Airlines has always done and has vigorously pursued in the new normal. We maintain standards and as we slowly but surely expand flight frequency. Like I mentioned to you, the schedule before. So with the flag carrier, you get safety, you get security, you get the hospitality that only comes with the heart of the Filipino. And I'm proud to say that, especially in this uh, um, Filipino American History Month episode. Um,
Hmm.
Basically, these days we have instituted a one-stop shop that will help augment the testing capacity in NAIA. Uh, Basically, to efficiently reduce the risk of transmission on board, added face mask and face shield. We complied with that with all the mask and face shield wearing. Uh, that will add a further significant extra layer of protection. Basically,
Right.
it makes being seated in close proximity in an aircraft safer than most in indoor environments. Philippine Airlines also requires its passengers to take thermal screening, and we ask passengers to bring their own hand sanitizers and of course face masks, and face shield. And on that matter, if I just briefly touch with all the everything that Philippine Airlines is doing in general, the risk of getting COVID-19 on a flight is very low. Recent study of the IATA has found that only 44 confirmed cases of COVID-19 has been caught from 1.2 billion people that flew between January and July this year. That's on a recent study. In other
Wow.
words, you have a better chance of getting struck by lightning than COVID on an airplane. That intensive study has found. And what's even better is that most of that 44 happened before mask wearing became the norm, or
Yeah.
high safety procedures were put in place. Aside from that, a very recent study from the Department of Defense in the U.S. It says that the modern aircraft ventilation system uh, are not spreading the virus. That's uh, the ventilation system on the aircraft filter. They already efficiently take out particles that could transmit the viruses.
Mm.
That with and including the several factors in the Philippine Airlines flight, the aircraft airflow systems, the high efficiency particulate air filters, that helps a lot. The natural barrier of the seat back, the download flow of air, so you don't think it's roaming around. That the air's roaming around, the air flows down, and the high rates of air exchange. Basically, about 50% of air gets when they go out. Basically, the other 50% gets safely recycled. So all of those assuring nuggets of information, excuse me, including a recent one. Sorry, including a recent one wherein the TSA noted to have screened 1.8 million passengers. It amounts to the passengers getting more comfortable flying and the new normal while staying safe. So
Yeah.
those assuring nuggets of information in general, plus whatever Philippine Airlines is doing, essentially amounts to, like I said, to a relaxed travel. And the
Hmm.
coup, if you have heard, is the recent safety rating of Philippine Airlines.
Yes, yes. I was just about to ask about that because
You're
somehow
psychic.
I want to know what Philippine Airlines has done to win those highest safety ratings of all the airlines in, I mean, in the world. What did Philippine Airlines do differently that the other airlines did not as far as safety protocols?
It's not more not basically more on the what different than what is the right thing, what is reasonable. So
Mm-hmm.
onset of the pandemic, we had to ascertain that whatever number of flights will remain operating, and that they are as safe as flights were before the pandemic, and not only as safe, we communicate that as well. We should be able to communicate that as well to the riding public. And by these measures, like you said, Philippine Airlines has become one of the 10
Yep.
safest airlines during these challenging times. This is according to Safe Travel Barometer,
Yep.
which is independent subsidiary of travel industry consulting firm Videc. We essentially were given 4.2 out of 5 stars, and the safest basically the highest rating was up 4.5, 4.5. So that's a
That's
pretty
amazing.
amazing. This
That's
travel
pretty
scores were
amazing.
based.
We gotta
Yes,
clap for that. We gotta clap for that.
really atin. Yeah, you're getting this rating basically, like I said, is awesome because it came from a host of a lot of factors related to air travel, including pre-boarding, boarding, the onboard experience. In fact, I relayed the message of our president and COO Gilbert Santamaria, who spoke for the company, when he
Mhm.
said, "We are grateful for the unexpected recognition and honor to be recognized for doing the right thing." So
Yeah.
that's the clincher, doing the right thing. Like I mentioned earlier, it's more of doing the right thing during these times. Which, and speaking of the right thing, you were asking me about what is specifically was Philippine Airlines been doing during these days.
Yes.
Well, uh, PAL has been carrying out the following safety protocols. We've been
Hmm.
providing personal PPEs for cabin crew for use throughout the flight, and they look awesome, by the way. If you've seen pictures of that, yeah,
Oh, I think I have a picture of that. Let me show that of the new PPE. This is it, right?
yeah, ain't it cool? It started with the white one with the subtle branding of PAL, and then with the baby blue and the dark blue hues. So basically, it symbolizes the heart of the Filipino, the hospitality on board the flight. Now with the more more attention to safety.
Yeah. I mean, they're with what's going on, things have to change. The look, the feel, the procedures has to change for everyone to feel comfortable. And I think one thing with Philippines, there may be a lot of steps um, to boarding or when you arrive into Philippines, and maybe when you're on the plane. But it's all for everyone's safety. And if it wasn't for all these protocols and safety measures that you have put in place, I don't think that you guys would have been ranked as the top 10 safest airlines in the
Yeah,
skies.
definitely. Basically, we've been cooperating with all the authorities in where we come from, where we land. We yeah, basically not only that, we carry out the whole of the disinfection of aircraft surfaces before and after flight using high grade eco-friendly cleaning agents. We use like I mentioned this earlier, the high efficiency particulate air filters. Basically, this is
I think it's
the
this one.
that, yeah, that one. Thank you, Marielle. Basically, this the current system that we use to cleanse cabin air of bacteria, viruses, and impurities with a 99% efficacy. If you can see by the graphic, the air flows downwards, and then it goes to the HEPA filters, and then goes downward even more, and 50% of that gets thrown out basically. So it's very safe with all the factors I mentioned earlier. The independent studies by the DOD, the intensive study of the IATA, plus everything Philippine Airlines is doing, you can be sure to be safe whenever you fly Philippine Airlines. So when you just assume, oh, they're just gonna say that because it favors them, or or just naturally skeptic, which is natural these days. But if you really have to fly, if you got to fly and you really want to fly, you're safe. Aside from that, we carry out simplified in-flight food service that minimizes contact between cabin crew and personnel. We conduct COVID-19 testing for returning Filipinos and foreign travelers. We all,
Mm-hmm.
like mentioned earlier, we mandate the use of face mask and face shields among all travelers and all airline workers. We also ensure the availability of hand sanitizers at pre-flight facilities, from the ticket office, the check-in counters to the boarding gates, within the flight proper, and even post-flight.
Mm-hmm.
And just to expand on what I mentioned earlier, the PAL One Stop Shop that helps the airport's capacity to screen the travelers and to process the quarantine requirements for passengers who fly into the country's largest gateway via the PAL flights from North America, Middle East, Europe, and all over. So it's accredited by the government agencies in the Philippines, the IATF, DOH. So and it
Yeah.
like what you mentioned earlier, yeah, yes, we operate in tandem with existing government-run facilities in the same in the same spirit of what you mentioned earlier. We wherein we agree that uh, of what made us safe is we comply with the requirements of the governments where we come from, where we land.
No, awesome, awesome. I'm just peace of mind for anyone that is traveling to the Philippines. I know there are still restrictions for foreign passport holders to go to the Philippines, but if you are going to the Philippines and you are planning, they are increasing their frequency from the U.S. To the Philippines in November to 3 times a week from the East Coast and 3 to 5 weeks from the West Coast. And just hearing, Erwin, of all the protocols, the extra PPE, the temperature checks, everything that Philippine Airlines has been doing, in addition, not only just for the passengers but also for the staff on board. They sometimes they want to keep the nice. I feel like all of this, the cabin crew are fully prepared and are wearing the proper PPE. I
And
still Go
And
ahead.
you can be assured, even though they're covered by the face mask and face shield that they serve, they tend to you with a smile, not just from yeah, not just from the smile that's covered, but they smile from the heart of the Filipino.
Very nice. Now, passengers, do the passengers have to wear face masks the entire duration of the trip?
Basically, that's a requirement from
Okay.
the Philippine government. So we complied with we complied with that. That's as of August 15. Um, Domestic and international passengers of PAL are were required to bring their own face shields in addition to face masks, so to be worn throughout the flight and inside the airport.
All right. All right. Um, Now, how about how about the passengers that may have had a flight and they were rescheduled or it was canceled? I guess, is there any changes to the Philippine airline policy as far as reissues or schedule changes that might affect them in the future? That can kind of give us some peace of mind if they do want to book now. If something happens to their flight or the schedule, that there's flexibility in their travel plans.
Yes, basically the recent the sales and basically the recent sales that we have, especially for 2021, is already even more flexible than the what was previously bought. So that you can already see with all our sales and advertisement from from philippine airlines.com and are from social media pages, and even the ones that you already have, please rest assured that even though the pandemic may have given us some you know delay with regards to your what your intention is to your current ticket, be it refund or reissuance, but we've adapted to the times. In fact, these days, if until the end of the year, for tickets bought until the end of the year, you if you prefer to have a travel voucher instead for use for a year's effectivity, you can do that. And if your um, if your itinerary has been affected by flight cancellations, then you can get 10% more value. So, and that's for a travel voucher that you can use for at least a year's time, for a year's time from the date that it was issued. So that's more peace of mind for you, more flexibility for the for our travel pals. So Philippine Airlines got you covered, and
So
I
you said
appreciate the patience of everybody.
if their flight gets canceled to involuntary change, they get 110% future travel credit. Is that what you said?
If they decide to have the value of the ticket converted to a travel voucher,
Hmm.
and there's a flight cancellation included in the itinerary, then
Right.
they get 10% extra value that they can put into the travel voucher, which they can use inside the year from the date it was converted to a voucher.
Good to know. And if they just want a refund, can they do that as well?
They can do that, yes, and we appreciate all the patience just in case there's been some a bit of a delay or more, and we appreciate the patience of everyone during this most challenging times.
Well, thank you. I mean, I appreciate all the information as far as the safety protocols, what's going on with the flexibility in your policies for any unforeseeable changes. But to all our viewers that may be watching right now that are on the fence about going back to Philippines and just purchasing that ticket, if it's not the safety protocols, if it's not the award, if it's not the flexibility, maybe you can tell us about maybe a future promotions going on for the holidays or any kind of sales that any of our viewers can be on the lookout for.
Yeah, we usually hold sales a lot of times during the year, even before the pandemic. We basically it's scattered throughout the year during these days. It's not as much, but still proportionally a lot. We have a weekend sale recently. We've had palmazing deals, plenty fairly recently, where we featured different routes and destinations for special fares, which can be purchased during a particular weekend. All we can say with regards to the sales to our passengers, please keep checking our website, www.philippineairlines.com, our social media pages,
Mhm.
Fly Pal, or just go to your friendly neighborhood travel agents for deals and promotions.
I was looking for an inside scoop. I was gonna say like, hey, next week we're gonna drop a sale. I was looking for an inside scoop there.
After the show, PM's the key. Yeah, well, basically, with regards to sale, bear in mind that Philippine Airlines, then and now, always keep you in mind. Mahal kayo ng PAL, hindi po mahal ang PAL.
That's
Yeah,
good. That's
80 years of experience in your favor, the reputation of smooth takeoff, relaxing flights, quiet landings, and
yeah.
basically the one foot in the still in the Philippines when you fly Philippine Airlines. So that all comes to you whenever you fly
Well,
Philippine Airlines.
thank you.
Before I
Thank you
forget,
so much,
I
Ryan.
just like to take the opportunity to salute everyone in the airline industry during these most challenging times. Of course,
Absolutely.
all our Philippine Airlines colleagues are around the globe. Thank you for hanging there, everyone. All of yes, thank you. Fly war free with Philippine Airlines. I salute all our everybody in the the travel industry. Thank you for helping us take care of our mutual travel pal. Hang in there. Basically, there's going to be a revenge travel season. So just basically hang in there. Filipino History Month. Just like to say, well, it's Philippine History Month anyway. And I'd like to say sa lahat ng ipinagkakapuri ang inyong dugong nananalaytay sa atin, mabuhay po tayong lahat. Mabuhay po tayong lahat. Salamat po sa mga tumatangkilik sa Philippine Airlines.
And to translate, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm a Phil am born in the U.S. So he said, "Thank you to everyone that is watching this, especially from the bottom of my heart, from the Philippine Airlines." Is that right?
Yes,
Close.
and also maganda si Mariel.
Oh, we don't need to translate that one. All right. Well, if they have any questions, I think we'll go ahead and transition over to the question and answer. I just scrolled through. I think there was only one question that came in during our chat. If anyone else that is watching that has a question for Erwin, anything about Philippine Airlines, or anything that we discussed during our interview or chat box, please write it in the chat box below. He would. He's a very friendly guy. Would love to talk to you guys. Maybe tell a joke. But I'll go ahead and jump into our first question. And this one comes from Ed Adriano. He's asking, does Philippine Airlines provide PPE, face mask, or face shields? I'm assuming for the passengers. Does PAL offer that? Let's say if they don't have that with them, would PAL offer
Yeah,
that?
like I mentioned earlier, that one based we're also complying with regulations and common sense. Basically, we for that one we ask our travel files to bring their own face shield and face mask to
Mm-hmm.
ask. They're the only ones who have been using it. There's no hesitation for that. Yeah, you're going to have to bring your own.
So what if they forgot, or I don't know, it breaks, or maybe they left it in the bathroom before boarding? Would PAL have any spare on or extra, or would they just be denied boarding? Just out of curiosity.
Um, going to have to deal with that. I haven't. That's the first time I've encountered that question, but I presume it will be discussed well pre-flight. But basically, that the yeah, would be that we comply with the safety regulations that we adhere to from where we're going and where we're going to. So yeah,
All right, all right, all right. I'm just gonna give this one more scrub to see if there was any other questions that came in.
and
Uh,
while you look for that, if there's anyone else this afternoon around there, this is a Facebook Live. Come on, can you hit the heart button for the heart of the Filipino? I mean, they get
oh, any
like a
hearts?
regular Facebook Live, right? Now shows
Yes. Okay. Here,
for Travelwise
please,
and their
as
guest today.
requested by Irwin, please, if you're watching this now live or you're watching it later on
Let's
your own
go.
time, please give a heart. Please
Yeah,
share it.
hit
Please
the heart
subscribe.
button.
All right. Our next question comes from Cora. She wants to know, what if you have asthma and can't wear a face mask for long periods of time? What's the requirement on this? Is this a PAL question, or is it more of a Department of Transportation question? How would you handle this?
With asthma,
Mhm. And they can't wear a mask for long periods.
well, basically that would have to be reported before boarding, or
Hmm.
if basically even before the ticket was bought. Uh, if he can't wear a mask on board, and it is required, then basically he may he or she may decide not to travel
To
at this,
reconsider.
or
Hmm.
basically get some medical clearance.
I see. Okay. All right. So regardless, a face mask is going to still be required. And before purchasing, you're encouraging travelers to consider that if they can't wear a face mask, then maybe they should speak to their professional medical professional first.
Yes, because Philippine Airlines also has to comply with all the medical protocols these days, especially since the virus isn't going away, and we don't want any transmission while on board. So if there's a mask and basically if there's a mask and a face shield, we're complying, and we're reducing the chances of transmission. So
Of course.
love to be very flexible in that. I think it's for everyone's safety, wherein mask wearing and face shield wearing is maintained throughout the flight, except when it's chow time.
All right. I have one question. Another question is from our own is for people flying from other gateways, such as here in Washington, New York, San Francisco, LA, or Chicago. Does Philippine Airlines have any code shares with any other airlines?
Yes,
Say,
we
I
have
want to. Mhm.
co-shares with American Airlines, Delta. Don't have the list right now, but it's going to be expanded with everything happening. We're negotiating more agreements with the other airlines to be more flexible in flying during these times. But yes, we definitely have code shares with other airlines into other major gateways into the US. And by the way, before I forget, just in case there are some questions I'm unable to answer, please email prnycsales at pal.com.ph, so I could give you an even more detailed answer. So it's prnycsales at pal.com.ph. If you those following up with refunds bought through our website or PR office, you could follow up through online booking underscore refunds at philippineairlines.com. For all other queries, please email in our sales office, prnyc sales at pal.com.ph. And with regards to the first email, we reiterate our appreciation to all our travel pals for your patience with regards to this matter. Don't worry about the value of the ticket you purchased. It will all be settled and eventually uh, reimbursed to you. They're all queued. So basically, we just have to, because of the pandemic, there's been some natural delay with a lot of factors. But yes, we appreciate all your patience and support during these times.
All right, and so just to recap, you said that the Philippine Airlines does code share with Delta and American. Is that right?
American, if I make a mistake, but yeah, I believe Delta as well. Yes, AA and DL. Uh,
Okay.
at the very least, those two. I see those every day in the bulletins I sent, but right now it's escaping me, so forgive me.
No, it's okay. I mean, it's those are great options if you want to connect to the major hubs here in the U.S. You can just take a domestic flight through one of the American carriers and then connect to the Philippine Airlines flight for the nonstop flight to the Philippines.
Correct.
Um,
don't forget the nonstop flights. Still the only nonstop flight from New York to Manila. So gateways covered ever since Philippine Airlines flew nonstop from JFK
Yeah.
to Manila.
All right. Next question is: will Philippine Airlines ever fly directly to Clark in the future? Crystal ball time.
Mark, I presume the question is coming from the East Coast.
Yes.
Yes. So basically, um, we we're not gonna close the doors on that. But right now, with all your support, we can go back to add more frequency to our flight. And the next goal would be to fly daily again from New York to Manila, and from there we could add some. With all your support, when New York to Manila direct flights are on the system of every Filipino in the East Coast, just like they are in the West Coast. Philippine Airlines their priority. Then definitely we'll add more frequency with our flights here, and then definitely that will be on the cards. That will always be an option, probably even to Cebu even. So thank you for all the support of everybody who's flown Philippine Airlines from New York to Manila and back. And we hope to you spread the word about the safety, the security, the smoothness of the flight when you fly from New York to Manila via Philippine Airlines.
All right. So keep a lookout. We need to support Philippine Airlines so that we can get that routing to Clark directly. I know there's a lot of kapongpongans in this area that want to go directly to Clark. The next question comes from Angel. Wants to know when will foreign passport holders will be allowed to enter Philippines.
Oh, that's. I'm glad you brought it up, and that's a very. Even as we're curious about it, I believe our higher. I know for a fact that our higher ups have been talking to the concerned authorities in the Philippines with regards for those foreigners holding passports. When are they going to be allowed? So
Yes.
basically, we would want that to happen already, cooperating with the authorities in the Philippines. Our higher ups are um, basically in touch with a whole lot of government agencies to how this can be allowed. But at step by step, at least at this point, like I mentioned earlier, where's my notes on that? Yes, the government has allowed Filipinos to do non-leisure travel abroad. I
Hmm.
Starting this week, Filipinos will be from this is from Manila at least will be allowed to travel abroad with will be required to submit confirmed round trip tickets, adequate and health insurance for those traveling with tourist visas. Says tourist visas, so that's very nice.
Yeah.
Execution of an immigration declaration acknowledging the risks involved in traveling and a negative antigen test result taken within 24 hours before departure. So we're still getting clarification on this, but if this means that tourists can now come, even though it's still not on a massive scale from the Philippines, then the next step should be we're hoping for that. The next step should be for those holding foreign passports to finally go to Manila. I know
Yeah.
there's a lot. We're getting a lot of questions with that, but we're just waiting for that time. So step by step, at least from one end to the other, it's getting clear now. And then basically that will hopefully be allowed soon, with all the safety precautions that will be followed.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's we are one step closer to having foreigners back into foreign passport holders into the Philippines, just with the newest public advisory that Filipinos can start traveling for non-essential out for outbound travels out of Philippines. So I think we are one step closer to allowing foreign passport holders to travel into the Philippines. So
Yes, and
hopefully.
if you can, if for the meantime, you as a foreign passport holder can't travel yet to the Philippines, well, they can, well, your loved ones in the Philippines can start to travel abroad. So at
Out
least they
to
have
at least.
first for the meantime.
We're getting closer. We're getting closer. This one is next question comes from Rob. Wants to know about face mask on board while eating. How does I mean? Is there a special protocol for wearing face masks on board and while during mealtime?
I believe basically when you eat, you need your mouth, so you
It's
gotta
part
take it off. I presume as that it is understood as soon as you're done um, eating the wonderful meals that Philippine Airlines provide, be it um, a Western meal, an Asian meal, or a Filipino dish.
you can
Any
take
of
off
those
your mask.
you choose while on board. Well, after eating, I presume you're required to wear it again.
Put it back on. Exactly. All right, good to know. I think this might be the last question, but that I see on the roster is how full are the flights now, and are flights now at full capacity?
Hi, Alvin. How are you? Well, at this point, from what I know from our airport team, basically, it's not operating at full capacity. We're flying once a week, especially it's October these days. September and October are lean time. So we initially intended to fly twice already by October, but we have pushed that back to November. So we're not flying at full capacity. I believe the Airbus is can accommodate around 220 passengers. The maximum would be 150. Believe we're getting close to that number for each flight date. These days, um, PR 126 leaves Manila every Friday, and then PR 127 leaves JFK around 1:45 on a Saturday. So hopefully, it gets expanded. The flight frequency get expanded soon, and more. And basically, the news about the screening by here in the U.S. reaching 1.08 million is a nice sign that travelers are getting more comfortable. So we're just waiting for the restrictions in the Philippines to be even more loosened. But of course, with presuming that all the protocols are followed for the safety of everybody.
So not completely to full capacity, but they're filling up definitely.
Yes, yes. There's a whole lot of people who intend to fly, uh, who are planning to fly. Just recently, a friend of mine within this week just texted me, "Oh, I'm so excited! I'm planning to have my dad fly because I've heard Philippine Airlines has a rating during this pandemic is 5 stars." Basically, it's not really asking me any questions. He's actually exclaiming that was planning to do that. I was thinking he was gonna ask me something, but basically, it's uh, it, it's more of an exclamation of what he will do. So that's very encouraging. We know everybody's planning to fly as soon as they are capable, as soon as
Yeah,
they're.
we're just waiting. Everyone is just waiting for the restrictions to lift.
Is basically on that edge, just waiting for smoke to clear, basically. So let's everybody in the travel industry, let's all hang in there. Above all, let's all stay healthy and happy. And then when the time is right, basically buy your tickets immediately because everybody's going to fly where they all imagined while being at home.
Well, I think that wraps it all up for all our questions for today. Erwin, is there any? I know you've had your shout outs. You have some statements of resiliency. Is there any final words that you want to share on our page or share to our viewers about Philippine Airlines or yourself?
Well, basically, just for everyone to please stay healthy and happy. And one last special shout out to you. When I got your message about appearing on the show, uh, basically before any other detail, you were very patient with me with everything I've been sending to you or asking you. So appreciate you. I appreciate Travelwise. Thank you. Congratulations on 30 years and counting and expanding. This could be a major channel pretty soon. You're awesome as I hope.
Thank you, thank you. Well, yeah, I really appreciate you, the whole Philippine Airlines team, joining us on our TravelWise Talks, being one of our special guests, especially in Filipino American History Month. We couldn't have done it without bringing someone, especially from the travel industry that we work very close with. You are always a character and always a delight to work with. I just so
Ah,
everyone knows, I have a whole picture album of Erwin of from when he was young and starting Philippine Airlines to present, and just a picture over the weekend. So yes, he is definitely a character. Great relationship, great partnership together, and really thank you so much for all the information that you shared with me, to all of our viewers, just to give peace of mind of all the great things that Philippine Airlines has been up to since the crisis, what you guys did to win that safety high rankings, and just the flexibility in your policies and how you guys have adjusted to give travel confidence back up again.
yeah, basically, it's not, I appreciate all of your nice words, Mariel. And just one last note, yeah, all of our hubs are operating at this point from New York, the both coast, both LA and San Francisco, and our Honolulu hub. They're all still operating. Basically, and we're all are raring to go back to how many times we been flying before. A special shout out to our U.S. Country manager, Miss Michelle Narvaez, who's our leader here in the U.S. and basically everybody else in all stations helping out with Philippine Airlines. So salute to you all, pallers.
All right. Well, thank you, Erwin. Thank you for your time, and thank you for all the information you shared to us and all of our viewers that are considering PAL for their next trip back to Philippines. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and have a wonderful remaining months. God bless everyone. Stay safe, stay healthy and happy, and don't forget, fly Philippine Airlines nonstop for safety and security.
Wonderful. Thank you, Erwin.
Thank you, Marielle, Travelwise, and everyone.
All right, everyone. Well, thank you, everyone that has joined us for um, our fourth episode of Travelwise Talks in celebration of Philippine American History Month. Now, as promised, I know I said this at the very beginning, and I promised I would make this a learning experience. If you haven't learned enough about Philippine Airlines and what they have done to make them the safe airlines in the sky, I'm going to go ahead and reveal the answers to the trivia. So I'm going to put it up here on the screen just so that you guys can see it again. Let me switch that so I'm small. Again, if you please put your answers, or you want to take a guess about how many Filipinos are in America to date. Um, excuse me. Now, this number again was taken before the 2020 census, so I strongly believe that this number will go up very quickly. I do hope that everyone here did have some time did participate in the 2020 census. It does only happen every 10 years. And last week, during our talk with John from Manila Mail, he stressed the importance of our participation as a minority group, to have our voices heard. Because, like the month that we're celebrating, Filipino American History Month has been, Filipino Americans have been here for centuries, not just decades, but centuries, over 100 plus years. And our contribution to the history of this country cannot be forgotten or dismissed. So this year alone I call it as the year of awareness of our history, of our identity, and our voice. And I'm aware that I'm more aware of our history and proud Filipino American. So if you haven't already, please put the answer to your question. Please put the answers for the trivia question. I did go in a little tangent just to give everyone enough time to make their guesses. Um, so Alvin says B. So we'll see about that. So if you could see my screen, and if you want to take a guess onto how many Filipinos are in America to date, again, before the 2020 census, it is, oops, not wrong. Sorry, wrong button. It is B. So congratulations. You guessed the right one. So um, as from AARP, the recorded number of Filipinos is about 4 million to date. And again, that is before the 2020 census. So I'm sure by the end of this year, going into quarter 1 of next year, we should see a rise in the number of Filipinos in America. This not isn't just a number, but it shows how many people and voices can be united to in our identity, in our culture, and in our presence here in American history. So, again, if you liked events like these, next week, I can't believe it, is already the end of October. I can't believe it. I can't believe that we're already at this point. But next week, we do have a very, very special guest. I'm not revealing who yet, but I will tell you what is coming. We have a very special performance, special guest coming to our Travelwise Talks for our grand finale on October 28th at 7 p.m. So you can dress up if you like. It's a 7 o'clock attire. You can bring your favorite beverage if you like. You can fix your hair. Maybe we can bring you onto the screen. But next week, we will be wrapping up Filipino American History Month with the TOFA, which is, if you don't know, it is an award ceremony called the Outstanding Filipinos in America. This is done every October in celebration of Filipino American History Month, and they award Filipino Americans for excellency in media, entertainment, journalism, business, anything that you can think of. It is going to have this show award ceremony will be taking place on October 31st, but we will be getting an inside scoop and a sneak peek of the award ceremony, some of the special guests that will be coming to the show, who will be awarded. And we will also be joined with a special performance, which I am so excited for. So please, next week, next Wednesday, October 28th at 7 p.m. will be our last Filipino American History Month series of Travelwise Talks. November, we start a new one, so stay tuned for that. But please join us for the TOFA Awards, the Outstanding Filipinos in America, which will take place October 28th at 7 p.m. Now, as I mentioned, there will be other events coming up. And on November 11th, which is the second Wednesday of November, we have Cathay Pacific. This may be a good one. We just had Philippine Airlines, but if you don't know, Cathay Pacific, their layover is in Hong Kong, and they were one of the airlines that we have a very strong partnership here in Washington, D.C. They opened about 2 years ago here in our gateway from Dulles Airport to Hong Kong to the Philippines. And they were one of the first airlines to be affected when the pandemic broke out. So hearing their story, hearing what they have been doing, as Cathay Pacific has always been ranked as one of the top 5 airlines in the world, it would be interesting to hear their story, what they've done to change, and the safety protocols that they too have put in place. Following that, on November 18th, we will have the Philippine ambassador come as general consul, who will be joining us once again to hopefully give us an update as to when foreigners will be allowed to come back into the Philippines. If not an update as far as we can start coming back and foreign passport holders can return to the Philippines without all the other added travel restrictions, maybe what the consulate is processing as far as travel documents, turnaround times. So that if you do have questions or specific questions and you maybe can't get in touch with the embassy, please join us live for that session, which will take place on November 18 at 2 p.m. There will be an Eventbrite. We have an event already on our Facebook page so that you can go ahead and remind yourself that you're going, so that you can bring your questions there to that Facebook page and you can add your questions to the live Q&A session. So that wraps it up for today. I really appreciate you spending your afternoon with us. And if you're with us from the very beginning, thank you for being patient with me and sticking through it, through the technical difficulties. We made it through. We made it another week. And I want to thank you again for joining us for one of our Travelwise Talks. If you're watching this after hours and not in the live, please still put your comments. Please share it. This really helps our agency and the travel industry just continue the conversation about travel and what the airlines, what the travel businesses have been doing to make traveling safe again. If you're watching this on YouTube, please make sure to hit the subscribe button. That will really help us out, as well as check out our other past videos that I mentioned in the beginning of our other Travelwise Talks celebrating Filipino American history. Again, my name is Marielle Cabin from Travelwise International. If you have any questions, please contact our agency. It is 301-248-8898. Again, that's 301 248 8898. Thank you, and I wish you a wonderful week. Until next time.